Hi, kindergartners. Take a look at what I have here. This is a branch from an evergreen tree. Why do you think it's called an evergreen tree? Winter has begun, and we showed how the leaves came off all of the trees, including our adopted tree right here. But there are trees that still have their leaves. Take a look way up there. That, as I come down, you can see it still has its leaves. This is an evergreen tree. It still has its leaves, even though all the other leaves of the trees have fallen off. And here is one of the branches so you can see it close up of that evergreen tree. Let's go on a hunt in my yard for other evergreen trees. Here is a different tree. Another evergreen tree. Let's take a sample of that one. Oof, snow. Here's a sample of that evergreen tree. It's growing on the other side of my lawn. Here is another evergreen tree. Let me take a bit of that evergreen tree also. There it is, close up. We'll study this a little bit more. Here is my azalea bush. I showed you azalea leaves earlier in the fall. Here's another azalea. So far, the azaleas are holding on to their leaves, but if you see, they are turning colors. We'll see if the azaleas drop their leaves. I'll take a little bit of the azalea leaves in to inspect also. Some azalea bushes are evergreens. They keep their leaves all winter. And some azalea bushes drop their leaves in the fall. Well, it's winter and my azalea still has its leaves. We'll have to come out and see during the winter whether this azalea is an evergreen or whether it drops its leaves. Stay tuned. Take a look at these. These are, now I have them as decoration, so I have glue on the back of them, but these are pine cones. These come from evergreen trees. This is one example of a pine cone. Take a look at a different example. Look at that one and see how different the pine cones can look. Take a look at these pine cones. Here are our samples of evergreen leaves that I collected outside. Some evergreens have leaves that are flatter, like these. Take a look at how flat these are. They're not pointy really much at all. They don't hurt when you touch them. They're flat leaves. And these azaleas, if they turn out to be evergreens, are also flat leaves. They don't poke or make you feel prickly at all when you touch them. They're flat and wide, these leaves. Some evergreens have pointy leaves, like these. These are pointier. Take a look. Do you see how pointy the leaf is? It's a lot more prickly than the other leaves that I just showed you. Take a look at these. They also have pointy, prickly leaves, but even these don't hurt too much when you touch them. Some evergreen leaves have really pointy leaves that look almost like needles. They're long and skinny and pointed, and they are called needles. These leaves are pointy and they are called needles, but they are not as sharp as some evergreen leaves. I wasn't able to find examples of really pointy evergreen leaves. Maybe you have an evergreen tree at your house that has really pointy, sharp needles. These are the ones you think of when you think of Christmas trees, right? They look a little bit like Christmas trees. You wouldn't have a Christmas tree that looks like this as much. Those pine cones come from conifer trees. The function of the pine cones is to hold the tree's seeds. The pine cone holds the seeds tight, closed in the winter, and when it gets warmer, it opens up and lets the seeds out so that it would be easier for the seeds to grow. That is the function of the pine cone. We're going to read about some trees that are not evergreen trees. This is the part of the book called Orange Trees. Let's read. Oranges grow on trees just like apples. This is a young orange tree and a full-grown orange tree. How are they alike? How are they different? It is warm in winter where orange trees grow. These oranges will soon be ready to eat. That's different than where we live, right? In spring, it is even warmer. The oranges are sweet. The flowers smell sweet too. In summer, it is hot. The flowers are gone. Little green oranges start to grow in their place. In fall, it is warm again. The green oranges grow bigger. Then they turn orange. What will happen next? This story takes place in a place where it's warm all year round. A place like Florida. Florida is famous for their oranges. There are also evergreen trees that grow in Florida, but they have trees like orange trees that could not grow where we live because it gets too cold for them in the winter. So what did we learn about today? We learned about evergreen trees. Oranges are not evergreen trees. You saw a couple of different kinds of evergreen tree samples that I brought in, and you saw a couple of different examples of pine cones. Do you remember what the pine cones do? They keep the seeds safe, and those seeds would grow more evergreen trees. Where are the seeds of the orange tree? Inside the oranges. The pine cones that you would find on evergreen trees hold the seeds to make new trees. The oranges on the orange tree hold seeds to make new orange trees. I hope you enjoyed learning about evergreen trees today. Have a great day.